This show is called Dave's Side One. So, I guess it's time we settle something. Can an album really be great if side one isn't? I think that first side has a job, and Genesis's Duke album gives us a pretty good way to test it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Dave's Side One. I'm Dave, your host, over here at Art of Listening Records, where every record has a story and every story starts on side one. We're on to this week's musical argument number 3, and this one is probably overdue. Great albums need great side ones. Now, I did not say side one always has to be better than side two. That would be a completely different argument. What I'm saying is that if you are making an album for vinyl, that first side needs to accomplish something before I ever flip the record. Today, when we see an album on a screen, we see one continuous list, track 1 through track 12, top to bottom. Vinyl doesn't work like that. At some point, the music stops, the stylus reaches the end, and you have to flip the record. That physical break creates 2 listening experiences, which means side 1 has to do more than occupy the first 20-something minutes. It has to get us somewhere. So let's look at Duke. Side 1, Behind the Lines, Duchess, Guide Vocal, Man of Our Times, Misunderstanding, and Heathaze. That is side 1. And what I like about this side is that it doesn't behave like 6 versions of the same idea. It keeps changing, but it still feels connected. Behind the Lines does exactly what the title position demands. It announces the album, big opening, big sound. Then Duchess doesn't simply reset, it expands what we've already entered. And after that comes Guide Vocal, a short piece, not a conventional single, not a giant statement, but in the sequence, it works. It gives the side shape. This is what we're talking about in this episode. Songs don't only have individual jobs, they have sequencing jobs. Then we get to my favorite track, the one I look forward to, Man of Our Times. Heavier, denser, a different kind of energy. Then Misunderstanding, more immediate, more compact, the kind of song that can stand on its own outside the album. And then Heathaze. That is an interesting way to end side 1. The side doesn't finish by trying to blow the roof off. It lets the energy settle. It creates a stopping point, and then the needle reaches the runout. This is one of the things streaming can't really reproduce. The album stops. Not because the record is over, because side 1 is over. You get up, pick up the record, you turn it over, then you start it again. That little interruption gives us a moment to process what we just heard. And if side 1 did its job, you want to know what happens when the needle drops again. We introduced the side 1 test a couple of episodes ago, and today we make it a little harder. 3 questions. First, did side 1 tell you what kind of world you've entered? Second, did the sequence develop? Or did 6 songs simply happen? Third, when the side ended, did you want side 2? If I can answer yes to all 3, that is a great side 1. Now here's the obvious challenge. Dave, what about albums where side 2 is clearly better? Fine. That happens. A great album doesn't require side 1 to win some imaginary competition. Sometimes the masterpiece is sitting on the second side. Sometimes the closer is the whole reason you bought the album. My argument isn't that side 1 must contain the best material. My argument is that side 1 can't feel disposable. If I'm waiting 25 minutes for the record to finally become interesting, that's a problem. So here's my verdict. A great side 1 should give me enough that I could enjoy the side by itself, but it should leave enough unresolved that I still want to flip the record. Complete, but not finished. That's the trick. So on tonight's Side 1 spin, what's the greatest Side 1 ever pressed in your opinion? Not the greatest album, not the greatest first track, not the greatest closing track. I mean one complete first side. Tell me about the artist, tell me about the album in the comments, and also tell me why you would not change a single song or its position. This one ought to start an argument. Well, that's it for today's Side 1. Thanks again for spending a little time with me. Please keep that needle in the groove, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Tomorrow's argument: a greatest hits album can contain all the songs you know and perhaps still give you the wrong picture of the band. Talk to you tomorrow.